is Bomber. And in the bottom left, in the red, our Zerg player. Give it up for Jaedong.
There's going to be a lot of focus in this game, Tasteless.
Yep.
Of course, you don't always play your best in the first game of the day, but unlike when you jump on and start the ladder, this game counts.
Yeah.
Okay, this is an important one here, and if Jaedong cannot take this, I just have such a hard time believing that he can beat Bomber. You know, this is a map that's very friendly to Zerg. Zergs generally like this map. Of course, not that Terrans are going to dislike it, but...
You know, let's talk about that. I think you're making a great point. Because of this map and because we're saying this map is certainly, I don't think anybody can argue, bad for Zerg. Yeah. If he can't win it here, yeah, I think that's evidence enough that it should be nearly impossible for him to win the entire best of 5.
Yeah. And as we see, you know, there's a lot of different openers that you can do in TvZ. I would say that the Reaper opener is probably the most common one that we see.
Yep.
But Bomber's actually going ahead and skipping this, and this actually shouldn't end up surprising Jaedong because this is a very Bomber thing to do. Oftentimes, he'll just go for a 1 barracks and command center, or even command center first.
Yeah, and that pans right into the way he likes to play this matchup. Bomber's usually winning his TvZs a little bit after the mid game or into the late game, and he's so good at controlling his army and pushing forward. Normally the Zerg gets toppled, so he's going to go for command center here.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, this is a build that's focused on economics, but it's not crazy greedy. It's not like he went CC first here.
That's right. And Jaedong, you know, he's getting his hatchery. It looks like he's going to go up to a quick Zergling speed as well. He wants to be careful about, you know, what Bomber's going to do, because Bomber has a lot of funny move-out timings where he'll just come out with, for instance, a bunch of Marines with combat shields or something, and if you don't have Zergling speed, you die. You know, there's a lot of different builds that Jaedong has to account for, but as we were mentioning before, Jaedong has always been known as, like, the most decisive Zerg player that there is.
Yeah.
This is how he made his name, is knowing when to strike and striking immediately and giving it his all, and that's exactly what you need against Bomber.
Okay, we have some links coming out now, and, you know, TvZ nowadays, he's usually just going to use those links to poke into the front and check, and then eventually we're going to have, you know, the tech to the Banelings. The Terran, on the other hand, he's going to be, is he actually getting another command center? Yeah, he's getting a third command center here.
Really greedy here from Bomber. Really wants to get that economy flowing. So we'll see what Jaedong can end up doing about that.
It's put in a pretty good place, too. I don't know if the Zerg is going to be able to identify early on. This is one of the problems for Zerg in a situation like this, is can they get in there and figure out what exactly you know, the build order is going to be, because if he knows that there's a third command center being made over there, it's then he can respond and make more drones. But if he's going to over-defend, then that's going to be a problem because there's nothing there that he can attack with.
In fact, that could be something that almost seals the game early on. If Jaedong gets very defensive against an opener like this, that's going to be very hard to climb out of. And you know, that's really something that goes along with Bomber's style as well. For instance, here he has those early Marines. A lot of regular builds where you go fast 3 command center, you know, you have a Reaper and then you go into a factory and you just don't have enough Marines to stop an Overlord from scouting. But, you know, Bomber is relying on the fact that Jaedong just doesn't really know what's going on here.
Yeah, he's playing completely in the dark. Well, it looks like the reactor started now, and the factory's on the way. And it does look like we have the evolution chambers coming up here. So we're going to be going into your standard, you know, late game TvZ here.
Yeah, it definitely could be here. And starting that creep spread as well. I do like the speed of this layer. I'm very interested about this. And, you know, with the Roach Warren coming down, could he be going for quick Baneling speed, quick Roach speed, something like that? Maybe he's afraid of a Hellbat push. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why he could be going for this quick layer, but we're going to have to see in just a moment here.
Yeah, he's definitely keeping his options open. He's getting the armor upgrade now. And I believe we're about to have the third hatchery come down. The stim has started. And this is you know, a passive TvZ here. Both these guys are saying to each other, I am much more comfortable playing against you in the late game. I think I'm better than you in the late game.
Yeah.
I think my macro is better. I think I'm better controlling a huge army. And that's the way I want to play this. So this is going to get pretty epic coming up here.
Yeah, you know, to be honest, both these guys don't really miss a beat in the late game. Jaedong's so good at multitasking, one of the quickest players of all time, whereas Bomber kind of made his name off of being so great at macro. But it looks here like we do have some Roaches in production. He is getting that Roach speed as well. We'll see how this fares against Bomber with his mostly Marine-based army at the moment.
So the Hellions are poking out now. Now these are Hellions that are a little bit later than some TvZs since he did get that quick command center up here. And he's going to see those roaches. The Hellions are actually going to come around now. So Bomber wants to try to see exactly what the tech is. He does spot some there, and he's going to see the timing there of that third hatch.
Yeah, both of them at this point have a ton of information. That Overseer sees everything in the main base of Bomber, and Bomber sees that Roach speed is already on the way. He saw the upgrading in that Roach horn, so it tells him, okay, you have the lair. You're actually dedicating a decent amount of your resources to Roaches, and that should let him know that he needs to be defensive. He shouldn't be moving out too early.
And we see the creep getting pushed really aggressively up here to the north. And the Roaches are now coming out. And it looks like he may be trying to put some pressure on over here at the front. And I love how Bomber's using these few Hellions here and there to check the edges of the army and you know, see how they're moving around.
Yeah, in fact, that one Hellion just showed him, oh, you have more Roaches than I expected. Another bunker starts immediately. Really strong scouting so far by Bomber. That's exactly what he needs to do.
Okay, the Roaches are coming up now. He does have SCVs in position to repair here.
Nice Widow Mine shot there, but actually doesn't do that much damage. The Roaches do move up and take another big Widow Mine shot, but
it looks like the bunker may just... No, it does. It does get taken down. He's going to keep pushing forward here.
That's right. He wants to pick off these Widow Mines as well. He does have the Overseer specifically for that. Doesn't done as he wants, but he still has a lot of Roaches, and this is scary for Bomber.
This is a difficult spot here for the Terran because he's walled in, but as you can see, he backs up the Roaches so that it's like a funnel for the Marines. When the Marines come out, they don't have enough surface area to do the right amount of damage. So there was a great job there by Jaedong really abusing that entrance.
That's right, and it's really cool that he already had the +1 armor for this, Jaedong did, because that gives him a big advantage over the Marines that just shoot very quickly but do very little amounts of damage. So a nice opening build, but doesn't quite get Jaedong to where he wants to be. And as you can see, the supplies are tied up, and when you're going Roaches against Bomber, that's not where you want to be.
Okay, Bomber's got a drop over here on the right side of the map, coming down. And we'll see if the third base is safe. He does see it with the creep tumors. And we'll definitely know now as this drone that was coming over here for the fourth is spotted. This does not look like it's going to do anything, at least over here. He might boost over and go to the second. We'll see.
Now it looks like he will be able to block this. Bomber has to pick up, but he can continue to harass a little bit. Thing is, 5 mutas are on the way, so when those pop out, he has to be a lot more careful.
Okay, he's dropping over here at the second base, and there is another drop, I believe, headed towards the main. The Roaches are coming down now, and he will have to pick up over here. The mutas are out now, so you don't have as much mobility here with the medevacs. You can be punished anytime you're moving, and the mutas are present.
Yeah, but you know what? There's not that many mutas out, and he does have 2 areas he's dropping, so a lot of damage actually
being done. Oh my god, he's going to get this before Ling speed finishes.
Oh, that would be really annoying right now for Jaedong to lose Ling speed.
Is he going to actually target this spawning pole down? I'm getting a little bit worried. Okay, he does take that out. That means no Ling speed. That's going to make Bomber very strong for the next few minutes here as he's pushing forward. You really need those Lings to be able to get in there and surround and get in the way. With them being slowed down like that, that's huge.
Oh man, Taseson on top of that. 15 drones were killed during this harassment.
Wow.
That is a big victory for Bomber.
And also note that Bomber is getting his third base in a direction going towards his opponent, so he's going to keep pushing throughout this entire game. The medevacs are now picking up. He may decide to regroup now. He knows, he got that spawning pool. He can just go ahead and macro up and do a follow-up push that could possibly crush Jaedong.
Yeah, look at the supplies, man. It's 145 to 131, and there's still a lot of Roaches left. And for those of you who are not like diehard StarCraft fans, the Roach supply is not really, it doesn't mean that much. So even though we see this big amount of supply, a lot of that's Roaches, which are going to be a little bit weak at this point in the game as the upgrades continue.
Okay, we see Bomber gearing up for the push now. Already getting a nice spread there. The mutas so far haven't been able to be really active on the Terran side of the map. The mutas ended up being used only for defensive purposes, and he hasn't done much with them, and that's unfortunate because mutas they can be active units. You can constantly be flying around and harassing the opponent, but so far Jaedong's just been on the defensive throughout this game.
He certainly has, and look at that spread right now on the edge of the creep so that Jaedong can't get a good engagement. And he's just pushing the creep back. That's what he needs to do. The way for Jaedong to come back into this game is to get some great engagements on the creep where his speed banelings, his speed zerglings, his mutalisks just clean up the Terran army, but it doesn't look like that's going to be a possibility right now.
Okay, he's continuing to push. He can make a split here between the third and the fourth. He scans, he sees the banelings. And you can see he's already spread out. All right, Jaedong sent the mutas over to the third, but meanwhile this attacks him and the banelings are spreading out. Can Bomber control this well enough?
Oh, it looks like he's spreading pretty well so far.
Oh my God!
Beautiful micro there by Bomber, and he keeps most of his Marines alive. This is bad news for Jaedong.
Let's keep in mind, even though the third base was pushed away right now, the mutas are not with the rest of the Zerg army, which means I don't think this third base for Jaedong is going to be around for much longer.
No, looks like he will lose a base as well. And this is actually better for Bomber than it is for Jaedong. You know, as Zerg, you can't do anything off 2 bases, but he is going to come in once again. The Banelings rolling forward. How many connections will they get? Not a lot so far. Some more coming in. The Muta's coming in for a flank as well, but does he have enough to clean this up?
He is spreading absolutely brilliantly. The Banelings are just not able to connect effectively. Now look at this. He regroups. He goes down into the 4th, completely exposed. There's no way that Jaedong's going to be able to keep this. And I don't blame Jaedong for using the mutas to try to cut off the reinforcements, but I think at this point in time, Bomber's army is just too big.
Yeah, and especially since he's floating over to take a third base once again, Jaedong is in a terrible spot. He's going to have to get some great trades on creep, but I don't know that Bomber's going to allow him to do that, especially with this +3 attack coming in. He is just so far ahead.
Okay, the mutas again being driven back now. I do like the creep over there to delay that base, but I just can't imagine a situation that wouldn't involve Bomber just completely miscontrolling that would allow Jaedong to win. I don't see how Jaedong can recuperate from here.
It's
at least
really
by his own
tough.
volition.
No, really. It would require a lot of mistakes here from Bomber, but you know what? Jaedong is doing what he can. He's flying over here to third base, clean up as many SCVs as possible, but he's going to have to get out of there as some Marines do come up.
He drives out those mutas, and again, the push just continues onward. And this death ball it's really scary. In fact, I think even if Bomber were to make some mistakes, I think he has room to do that at this point in time,
Yeah. Well, he's on a death march right now, Tasteless. He is going down to kill Jaedong at the moment, but Jaedong has a lot of Banelings morphing. We'll see if he can hold on.
All right, he's coming up now. Those Banelings did finish up here. Also note that Tech is over here in the front of the second base, so he really can't afford to lose his position. And the Banelings, again, beautiful control here by Bomber. Look at this. He just never lets the Banelings effectively connect.
God. Those spreads, man, so good. A nice counterattack by Jaedong, but will it end up being enough? It looks like he gets Bomber to turn around, and that's the type of move you need to do right now.
Yeah, we saw his army in the middle map go up for a second, and now he's coming back down, and that's going to be a GG.